Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the tangle Hearty Waybop from Zentangle. Now, this is actually what we call it a tangulation or a variation on Waybop. And I know I did Waybop some time ago. It was when I was using my phone and oh, and that poor thing just kept trying to focus on, it must have been on my hand or something, so it would do this weird pulsing as it was trying to figure out where to focus on. Someday I might end up redoing those. But in any case, I thought it'd be fun to focus on Hearty Waybop because today is Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day. And like I said, it's a fun tangle in general, but sometimes I know for myself, having some guidance through making the variations is somewhat helpful. So here we go. All right, so this one, wherever you want to have it placed, we're just going to put a dot just in the center. And there we go. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. All right, then this is all in one step. And I want to make sure to note that you just have to have an even number of the first step of dots, which will end up being seeds. Just has to be an even number. And I think I'm going to give another go at doing 6 dots instead of 8. And so here's, just because 8 is easier for me. All right, and let's see. Let me pull it in a little bit. And this is one where you just kind of have to play with how far apart you want these, because it'll determine, how close you get to the sides. Now let me share something. So what I do, and I did this for regular Waybop, because there I think she just had the dots in what looked like a circle, and I had the heck of a time with that. So what I decided to do was, put something in the middle, go on either side, and then if you want to do 8, then you could put one here. It's like go north, south, east, west, sorry, and I don't know which direction you're seeing it. But to do 6, for me, it's just like, okay, and I have to figure out how do I put 2 in here somewhat evenly, and I'm going to do it. Oh, that looks pretty good. Then it's easier to just, let me do it this way, easier to come somewhat straight across, and there, not too bad. And let me say, it doesn't matter. If they're a little off, it's okay. Yeah, and I'm, we'll say, and I'm, no, that's all right. Off center, that's okay. As we know. Now, next step is doing seeds. Seeds, if you don't know, it's a curved line going one direction, and then a curved line going the opposite direction, and it ends up looking like a seed. Now, one trick with this tangle, and I'm going to do opposite sides, like so. Then I'm turning my tile, so that way, the challenge I had with this while I was playing with it was to always have these kind of radiating outwards. So what I found was, well, if I just turn my tile, and not necessarily my hand, that way I'm kind of getting the same angle as far as that curve goes, then they, for the most part, nicely radiate outwards, and I was getting just really odd things. So that's pretty good. But that's one trick. Just turn your tile and keep doing the same thing. Keep your hand in the same place, and use the curve that's naturally there. Okay. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to pair these up by 2s. And we're going to use the take off and land concept. So what we're going to do is on the outside, so I'm picking these 2 seeds. I'm going from the outside of this seed to the outside of this seed. And we're going to do 2 curved lines, right, to make the top of that heart. So turn like that. And then coming down as best you can. It helps with the continuity, on other steps. And so, so pairing 2, skip, and then we're pairing the next 2, and then skip, and then pairing these 2, And like I said, depending on how many you have, it's the same thing. We're pairing two together. That's why you have to have an even number. Okay, now where these empty spaces are, same idea. We're going the outside of this seed to the outside of this seed, but we're going where we haven't paired these two up yet. In this one, we're just doing a curved line. Now, I want to make a note, because you can make variations on this however you want. It's just you kind of have to think a little bit ahead of, well, where do I want to have the variation at, and when would I do that? And so, lots of different things, but it's good to take a look at maybe what other people have done, and just to get the, okay, then I would have to do it here, or just so you can plan out when would you have to make the change in what you're doing to get the result you want. Okay. Now, once you have all of those, then we're going to be aura-ing. And to aura, if you did not know, is just to basically outline. And you know what? Okay, let me do it from here. I think you can see best there. Okay, sorry if you didn't see the other very well. Okay. So we're going to aura the heart part. And so there. And this, because depending on how big you're doing it, you might need a little bit bigger space. And you know what? I'm going to slow down. I'm picking up my pen right here. Just to also make mention that we also are going to employ the halabow technique in here just a bit. So we're coming around, right? And then ideally, as you're coming up to here, keeping this in your scope so that way you can do your best to kind of line it up. So as if you were going through, but we're not yet. And there's a couple places where we will do this. And last one. And two, here you could always play with the distance that you're aura-ing. I know on one of the samples that I have to show you that we did just tonight, I went a little bit wider at the top than here, and lots of fun things that you can play with. Okay. Next bit of aura-ing is going to be this. Gosh, it's like now just a big half circle. So we're going outside of that seed, coming around, trying to keep a nice even, working to, I should say. There is no try, right? For my fellow Star Wars fans. There is no try, there is only do. There we go. Sometimes not thinking about it also helps. All right. Okay, so we've got all of those. Next. And I'm going to call it this is the ring part. And again, you can do a different shape up here if you want to. I'm going to stick with the step out. And so we're going to do the ring. And here again, we want to think about halabow because we're going to work on this inside line, and feel free to air draw like that if need be. We're going to do that on all of them. Now some of these, like these next few steps, you could probably change up the order, things like that, because the next few aren't necessarily they're not reliant on each other. I'm going to do them in the order of the step out just because. Some of the other ones you don't want to get them out of order because then you don't it kind of messes up the over and under part. Okay, so we have that. Oh yes, and then I think I changed up the order just a little bit myself. And then we'll finish this one. So again, working on the outside and then coming to this outside. And just our last couple steps. So this one, again, starting with the inside, so the inside of this heart, and also thinking hollow bow, we're just going to do a little V like that with a little curve, because the challenge here is, we have the seeds and it's coming at, more of a round angle. Now, if you can make it so that way, maybe it's, more at an angle this way, more power to you. I haven't figured that part out, but that's okay. So we have just a little V like this. Then we'll do the outside, and this is kind of what this dot is for, is again, lining it up, thinking a hollow bow, and then doing a bigger V, but coming to that center point. Wow. Like that. And it's neat. And, and it has that Celtic, knot, the intertwining feel. And what's neat about it, because generally if you do, Celtic knots, there's a lot of planning. You really need to have graph paper. And Zentangle is less about planning. But this is a neat way to get that effect without a lot of planning. All right. Now, the next step would be decorating, and you can do whatever you want. Let me just share. So this was one I did earlier, and I think I have, I have a different one, that I have, I'll have it in the picture. But so this one, I decided, I was adding some color, and I did with the red, I just aura'd this inside, and just kept aura'ing it, and of course added, what I'm feeling is a little too much graphite, but you know what, it just is what it is. And it's fine. And then I did some orbs in this section, and then you get to decide, well, which, because the seeds could go to either section, so you get to decide which part do they go to. I wanted to emphasize the heart more, so I had those in with the heart. And then here I decided to, where we have this center, is I decided, well, I'm just going to make a little, two little curve lines, so that way this might look like a petal, so that would be like a flower in the center. And so that was my thought process behind that. And then we added some fancy fescues and just had fun with, graphite and charcoal to make it look shiny, because this is a tan tile. And then this one isn't completely done yet, but you can kind of see, it's kind of neat because you can kind of see the process. This was one I tried. I did it with the 3. This, of course, I did with 4. And somewhere, oh yeah, because I was showing how to do that. But I did. Well, we talked through it, and so I think you get it. But this one I decided to do a little bit differently. I decided to put hearts on the inside of the hearts, and just color in solid the other rings. But there's so many fun things that you can do. Take a look at for more inspiration links on in the description section, so that way you can get some extra good ideas. Now let me share some shading thoughts. The biggest one is the what I call the over and unders. So I'm just putting graphite along these solid lines, and just a little bit. And because I'm working on a 2x2 bijou tile, it's just rather small, so I kind of have to be careful in some areas, because it'll just end up being dark. But at the same time, that's kind of okay, because while we don't worry about light source and shadows, it would be more shadowed in there if I'm doing the over under thing. So I'm just scribbling a little bit, and actually on that inside, you could end up just using what you have left over of the graphite from doing the others. And so I'm just going to pull it out a little bit, because so we just want to have that nice gradient. Like I said, these are just going to turn out kind of gray, but that's okay too. I just like to have a gradient. So I, scribbled it a little bit, or scrubbed it a little bit is what it felt like. Because I don't like having those lines. But so you can, spread it out as far as it will go. I like to do it until it kind of just blends right into the white of the tile color, or we'll just say natural tile color. It's an easier way to say it. Because you might be working on a different color, and it's the same concept. Like that. And this is kind of calling for it still too, because I did this on the one, saying even though it's not an over and under, it was just screaming that it needed something. Oh, I forgot this up here. And then just using what's left on that one. Oh, here's another one's got lots of graphite on it. Sometimes it's nice to, use up some of the graphite, because otherwise it stays packed on there. And then, because I've done this, I've had this happen where I put the graphite down, and then it's like, whoa, that's way darker than I was thinking, and it's because I had so much packed up. So every once in a while, it's just good to just use it up like that. So there we go. That's just very simple without, decorating it, but you can see all of the options that you have. I mean, number one, to make other variations on Waybop, and then also just ideas on how you might want to decorate. And it's just a really, really cool tangle. So with that, I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, love to have a thumbs up. Feel free to share it. And if you're not a subscriber to the channel, would love to have you be a subscriber. In the description section underneath where I have the step outs are ways to connect with me. So if you enjoyed this and you want to join for a live class, would love to have you join us. Information is on my website, and also just other ways to connect, so that way we can make sure that you join us if you wish to. We have a lot of fun. And with that, again, happy Valentine's Day, and thanks for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.